Hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 7 of Active Basics, critically reviewing your own logs. Now this is something I've talked about in a previous video, I'll link that here, and something that I care about a lot. I help a lot of people go through their logs, and I really want to encourage you to try to look through your own logs so that you're fully able to understand if something's going wrong, why it's going wrong, and how to fix it. Hope you enjoy. Alright everyone, let's get straight into it. I want to ideally break down reviewing logs in a way that is very easy. And I think I found 4 steps where you can basically put everything in some way, shape, or form that can make reviewing your own logs a lot easier. Step 1 is going to be the static things that don't ever really change unless you change them yourself, and that would be your talents and your gear and your consumables. Those would be the easiest things to look at, making sure you have the proper gems and enchants, making sure you're in the right talent spec. Things like debuffs on the boss are very massive. Things like buffs on yourself that are supposed to help you do more damage, such as like Demonic Pact. If you're a warlock, for example, can look at the uptime very easily. And that would be everything that encompasses the first step. That's one debuffs of the boss. Number 2 is where we get into a little bit more complicated. That's when we'll go in and look at our rotation, and we can do that pretty easily by going to cast and events, and you can see every single ability that I cast the entire time, and you can figure out why did I cancel this? Did I have to move? Did I have an ability casted on me? Did I mess up here? Was I trying to proc a trinket here? Why did I cast so many drains? Why did I escape artist here at the end when I could have just been casting on the boss? Was I gonna die? There, you can break down even further what you casted and why. So we have the statics, we have the abilities we casted, and then the third step that we'll go through is the replay, because the positioning that you have is extremely important. So where you're standing and what happens to you while you're standing there can make a massive impact on any sort of fight. We went over this already in our video, episode 3, movement as a resource. So when you're critically reviewing your own logs, you have to think about, did I do my job? Did other people do their job? And then once that's done, what did I do in my rotation? Where was I standing? And the 4th step is something that you can't really account for, but that's RNG. And sometimes you just get rocked by RNG. You can't do anything. Say you're on Yogg and you get Psychosis 8 times, 9 times, and you're going into the last phase with 4 sanity, and you want to play really greedy with your damage, but you don't want to get mind control and look stupid, so you play very passively. That'll be a massive DPS loss. And there's a bunch of fights that are like that. Now I want to go through each of these steps now that you've seen overview and figure out the best way to view each one. For 1, debuffs on the boss, you can go to enemies, debuffs, and see every debuff the boss had in the duration said debuff was on the boss very easily. And you can sort with this little tab here, all abilities, and look through what was on the boss. One of the most important debuffs on a boss for a caster would probably be Shadow's Embrace, or more like warlocks only. Those are the big casters right now. And you could break down who put this debuff on, all the sources. Like I could look at Pummel's debuff of Shadow Embrace, and I could see I had 95% Shadow's Embrace uptime on the boss. So that's not an issue. Something else would be COE, for example. A COE source like an Unholy DK, a Boomkin, or a Warlock putting it up. What type of uptime is that? Trying to see and figure out which debuffs are the most important to you is part of your personal, I guess, homework in figuring out how to maximize your own damage, because there's a lot of debuffs that go into the boss, and there's 5% crit, there's 3% crit, and then there's haste if you're not standing close enough to a Wrath of Air totem, or if it's too far away. There's all these little things that add up in terms of debuffs and buffs from other classes. So you have to figure out which of those is the most important and explore if you had that. And I can help you with that if you reach out to me through Discord, but there's a lot to list and there's only a certain amount of time. So we're going to move on to the rotation, and rotation is fairly simple. You can, this is the reset, go to any fight. Let's pick Hodir, pick me, Pummel, go to cast, go to events, and you can see everything. And this is a very powerful tool, which goes hand in hand with step 3, our positioning. So once you have this up, you can go to the replay tab and you can watch yourself in action every second, every cast, the entire time. And a lot of people don't use this, and they even have like NPCs and ads that come up during a fight. It's an extremely powerful tool that I see is not utilized enough. That's about it for positioning. It's pretty simple. And lastly, how do you track gimmicks and RNG? Gimmicks and RNG are things that you have to know about the fight. For example, perfect example is Hodir Stormcloud buffs. Like, you can go to buffs and look for Stormcloud, Storm Power, see who got Storm Power and how long they had Storm Power. And then you're like, okay, well, I didn't get any Storm Powers, that's why I did no damage in Hodir. There you go. It's as simple as that. There's other fights like Bezix, like you could check, like how many Mark of the Faceless did I get, you know? It's dumb ability. Maybe you got it multiple times. Look at Skitter. He got it 3 times in Execute. I got it during Execute. Voluptuous got it 3 times in a row. Sometimes you just get RNG and there's nothing you can do about that. But that is the last excuse in the book. You have to make sure everything else is out of the possibilities until you come across a reason why you did poorly on a fight. Most of the time you will catch the reason why you were doing poorly on the fight between 1 through 3. Number 4 is the last result unless it's very apparent. Now, I want you guys to go through a log that you did recently where you thought you didn't do too well and apply these 4 steps and tell me if you see something strange. I've gone through a multitude of logs for a variety of people recently, and one of their very common things I see, especially for warlocks, is on Thorum, the demo warlocks will keep their pet up top, and they'll have extremely low demonic pack uptime because their pet gets stuck up top. And that's a lot of 400 spell power plus you're missing on the entire Thorum fight. It's a lot, and it definitely adds up. So I want you to go and look through your logs using our 4 steps, which I'm going to post again above, and tell me what you can find. I hope you find this useful. Thank you. Another very good tool that I don't mention very often is the RPP and CLA tool. The Discord I will share in the description below, but the CLA and RPP kind of breaks down logs for you in a way where you don't need to go through your entire raid if you want to extend your search past your own personal performance. Talking about average eye level, going through each of your gear. We could go through the combat buffs like I was talking about. Seeing uptime on consumes, static things, pre-pop potions. We can see people's professions. Uptime of boss debuffs is massive. This is something we were looking for before. For example, I guess 90% uptime on the bleed damage buff on Thorum. So things like this will make viewing very simple compared to going through each log and trying to figure it out on your own. And for RPB, you can see exactly the consumables people use, damage absorb, exact cast uptime on all these abilities. This is a very good tool, and I will leave a link in the description below for you to explore it yourself. Thank you for making it through episode 7 of Back to the Basics. Episode 7, critically reviewing your own logs. I want to say at the end of the day, it's not about comparing yourself to who's number one. It's about comparing yourself to who you were last week. And I think a little bit of self-progression continues to make the game interesting and gives you a little bit of a goal to chase after. There are people that have most of their bis already, that are in guilds that run splits, and you should not feel so inclined to derive your pleasure from getting 99s if you're 10 eye levels behind and your raid DPS is 40k below on a single target fight like Thorm. There is very little you can do mathematically to compete without potentially perfect play in a perfect raid environment. But I just want to let you guys have some tools to utilize and a little bit of steps to see how you can maximize your performance. This means a lot to me, and I get a lot of requests to go through logs, and I love going through logs, and I hope that what the knowledge I can share with you can be applied. Now I will be continuing the Back to Basics series in episode 8, coming to you next week, and we're talking about comms. What do you comm? Why do you comm? What's a bad comm? We'll go through everything. For now, I'll see you next time. Thank you all for the support. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It means a crazy amount to me, and it gives me motivation to continue making these videos. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.